All right, so we are starting. Please, are we good to go? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So from our previous section, we exploit this data with some basic data formatting before we did the quick statistics. So over here, we were able to calculate it for the mean to the third quarter using the following formulas, the percentile formulas. And here the mean, we use the average function, the median, we use the median function, the mean for the minimum number, the mass for the maximum number.
Yes, please. Okay.
We did a subtraction here, the deduction here to get the range. We did the same for the unit over here. Now we are looking at we are going to look at this next question. So in this question, the question is asking us that we should calculate sales by country using formulas. That's the question number 3. So now we are going to look at how to calculate each sale by each country using a formula. So coming here, all right. So coming here, what do we need to do? The first thing we need to do is to have our country. Is to have our country here. Since we are going to look at the country by, we are going to look at our amounts and look at our units over here. We're going to look at our amount and our units. So in comparing the amount and the units, we can now know which country sold the highest products. So in doing this, we are going to use.
Could you repeat that?
All right. So now we did the calculation for the quick statistics and EDA for our previous section. And we are going to look at sales by country with formulas. So we are going to use formulas to know which country made the highest sales in this data. So when we come here, I already have it here, but we are going to do it again, right? So in doing this again, we should have our country column. And to know by sales, we should have the amount column as well and the unit column. So we are going to calculate for the amount each country sold, or the amount that were gathered from each country, and the number of units each product were sold in each country. That's why we should have the country here. We should have the country column. We should have the amount, and we should have the units. So we have the 3 columns over here. And I said, in trying to get our countries over here, our countries, in order to get it from here to this sheet, we are going to use 2 formulas. If you are using Microsoft 365, like I'm using, there is a way. If you are using 10, 16, 21, there is also a way of doing it. So first, let me use the other versions of Excel in achieving this. Meaning we want to get our data, our countries over there. So using any other Excel version less than 365, what you are going to do is to make sure you highlight everything over here. Highlight everything over here. Copy. Come to the new sheet you've created and paste it here. So you see that you have so many countries repeating over and over. But in this case, we are only looking at specific countries. So to be able to get this, you can't do it manually, right? So what you are going to do is to go to your data tab, right? You are going to your data type. So the data tab, when you click on your data tab, go to data tools group. So let me come back again. After you copy and paste everything in your new sheet, go to your data type. So in the data tab, go to data tools. So in the data tools, look for this. What we are going to do is to remove duplicates. So the duplicated values is what we are going to remove to remain or maintain the unique ones. So click on remove duplicate over here. And this one will give you a command that Microsoft Excel find data next to your selection. Because you have not selected this area, this data, sorry, it will not be removed. So as you are expanding your selection or continue with current selection. So now let's come here. Now we are not looking at the unit because it has selected the amount and the unit. We are not looking at the unit. We are only looking at the country, right? So de-highlight this and de-highlight this one. And maintain the country. Make sure the country only is highlighted. And click on OK. Now, it will give you another pop-up action asking you that now 294 duplicate value found and removed. 6 unique values remain. Note that count may include empty cells, spaces, extra. Just click on OK, right? Now, we only have 6 unique countries. So this is a way to achieve this result in any other version other than 365. So let's do it once more. So we have our country over here and we come to our data. We copy everything from the country column, come to the new data, and under the country, now let's paste them. Now we want to only maintain unique things over here. So what we are doing here is to go to, so most often you will see your data under the home tab. Go to the data tab and inside the data tab, look for data tools over here. So in data tools, you look for remove duplicate, click on it, right? Now click on OK and click on another OK again. So we have the same result over here, as simple as ABC. So you format it very well, right? You format it very well. So you are going to do the calculation here and do the calculation over there. Now let's come to our sales by country. What formula are we going to use over here? So with basic Excel or fundamental knowledge, we know whenever we want to put something together or add something up in Excel, instead of plus, we use sum. We use sum in doing that. But we have so many types of sum functions. So which type of the sum function do we need to use? But first, let's go and understand what the sum function does before we can all conclude by which syntax are we going to use. So the sum function adds together all the numbers provided as arguments. So let's take this one for example, right? We want to add what is here, right? The unit column over here. We can manually add them up like 700, 7431, right? 31 plus 10158 like this. Now let's put our equal to sign over here. Okay, so we could see that adding this and this with just the basic arithmetic plus sign, we are able to generate 70,589 as summation of these two values. But now, we are not using the plus sign to do this whole magic over here. We are going to use the sum function. So to use the sum function, basically, we can use the sum, the basic sum over here, and add everything up here like this, close our bracket, and now we can achieve this as our answer to the sum total for the unit column, and maybe sum total for the amount column. But in this case, we are not looking at adding up values here as our argument. So which type of sum do we need to use? So we have the sum if. What does the sum if also do? Now the sum if function, it also add up the same values like the sum does. But with the sum if, it is going to look at one criteria or one condition in order to provide a specific result. So then what does the sum ifs also do or does? Now the sum if function is used to add numbers based on multiple criteria. So while the sum if is just looking at one criteria, the sum if is going to look at multiple, that's more than two criteria in order to give us a result. So this will allow us to specify one or two ranges to be evaluated. So for us to assess more conditions that the cell must meet in the ranges to be included in the sum. So looking at this argument over here, the sum ifs and the sum, you could see that the sum if is taking just a range like the amount, the entire amount column is the range it is talking about. And this one is talking about some range. And this one is talking about the same range. Sum if is looking at just one criteria. So the one criteria could be just the geography column, right? That's the countries. But looking at the sum if, we are going to look beyond just one. But we should also look at criteria range 1 and 2 in order to produce a specific result. So in this case, since we are not going to use just one criteria, we are going to use more than one. Then sum ifs is the ideal formula to use in achieving an answer for calculating sales by country. So in doing that, you just come to where you have your unique values. First, bring your equal to sign and type your functions.
Please, you are going too fast.
All right. So what I'm saying is that in order to achieve this result, we need to sum everything up. But this sum function has so many formulas. But we are looking at 3 sum functions over here. We are looking at the normal sum that we use to put together in order to achieve a result, especially quantitative data like this. So let me color this with conditional formatting. Quantitative data like this. We use the sum function when there is nothing conflicting. We don't need any qualitative argument in order to achieve a result. We just directly use our sum function, like we did over here. The sum if is when we are just taking one range. Like we are looking at this sum if, sum if sum if, and the sum if. Now we are looking at just this range. We are looking at just this range. So this range, comma, which criteria are we looking at? We are looking at, oh no, we are not looking at this. We are looking at this criteria. This greater than, I'm coming. Oh, where is my greater than symbol? Okay. Less than 4,000, comma, and we are looking at our sum range of the amount column. So this data may not be ideal, but let's see how it works. No, this data is not an ideal. So at normal circumstances, if this data would have been an ideal for this argument, we should have gotten values that is or are less than 4,000 from these two. But the sum ifs function over here, the sum ifs over here, it is looking at multiple arguments, considering both qualitative and quantitative data. So the moment we are looking at qualitative and quantitative data from multiple sources, then sum ifs is an ideal for our calculation. So if we come here and we type the sum ifs data function, we only come to the data and select our amount. So when we select our amount from our data table, now it is saying that sum range, bring comma, right? So we will bring comma over here. After that, which criteria again are we looking at? Please delete this one. Come to the geography and highlight the geography as well. Now, what are we looking at? After you've been able to highlight the amount and the entire country's column, the country's column, now let's come back to our sheet. We are only looking at arguments for the New Zealand country. So please come here, delete this, because we are only taking this sum, this criteria 1, and we are looking at the sum range. And this sum range, we are looking at the New Zealand country. So over here, we can close our function. Let me take it over here again. We are using the sum ifs function because we are taking multiple criteria for our result. So you type the sum ifs function, since we are looking at both qualitative and quantitative values in order to achieve a result for a specific country. So you come to the data and you select the amount. Why are we selecting the amount? We are looking at the sales by country. So we are looking at how much sale did each country made. So you select the amount column first. And now when you come here, after the sum range, it is taking either one or two criteria over here. So you bring your comma. This comma over here is very important, right? You bring your comma. And after the comma, now you select your first criteria over here. There's also requesting for a comma. Now, are we done? No. Why? Because after we've highlighted the entire country, we just want to calculate for each country. So how do we do that? Let's remember that we've been able to remove all the duplicated values of the countries, and now we have 6 unique countries. So when you come back to your data, don't touch anything, just come back to your data, your new sheet where you are calculating for sales by country. When you come, delete the last part and click on the first country, right, that you have. So when you click on the first country, that is your second argument over here. So now you're looking at your criteria 2. That's the first and the second criteria, right? Now close the function over here and click on enter, and it will generate the sum total or the sales that was generated in New Zealand. So we can do it for USA as well using the same sum ifs. The same sum ifs, because we are taking multiple arguments. So we come, you take your amount column, you separate your first argument with comma, your second argument with another comma. Now, to be able to calculate for each country, let's come back to our sampled data. Now, we just need the US country alone. So what we need to do is to clear this part and click on the USA. So why are we clicking on the USA here? We are clicking on the USA because we want to calculate for only USA. So we will know the amounts that were generated or was generated in the United States only. So we press on enter. Now let's come back to this. Over here, we are going to do something called formula replication. We are going to replicate a formula over here. Replicating a formula means copy and pasting a formula. Since we are going to use the same formula to calculate for the rest of the countries. The simplest replication is when we are using the auto-filling space over here. So when it turns into Jesus cross over here, just drag it to the India and we get it over here. Now, if this is true or these values are true, reflecting the actual amount that were gathered in each country, then let's check the US over here, because over here we didn't calculate for this amount. We calculated for this one, and we can see that this one and this is the same, right? So if you want to calculate for the unit also, we use the same formula. And in this case, we are not going to use the amount. We are only going to look at the units sold. So we are going to look at the total number of units of products that were sold in each country. Select the units sold. Now separate this by comma. Come to your country column, that's the geography, comma. Then come back to the sheet where you are doing the analysis, right? Clean the last part. And now let's select the first country, New Zealand, right? And close our function. Now we have it over here. Since we can replicate a formula, we can just drag and make sure Excel does the work for us. There is something here I want to clarify. Now, in the case of your analysis or practice, and you don't see this, now on table 2 over here, and you see a data over here, please, it's the same thing, right? Yours can even change to different fields. It is the same thing. The reason why you are seeing table 2 before this unit and amount Sorry. This should be table 2. Table 2. All right. So the reason why we are seeing table 2 over here is that it didn't pick the name of this data I named over here. Since there are 2 tables over here, it is taking this as table 1 and it is picking this as table 2. That's why you see table 2. Hello. 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 All right. So when yours is different here, when you see a data here, please, it means the same thing. You get the same thing, right? So let's see this sales by country with pivot table. How do we calculate for this one? It is very simple. Looking at top 5 products per unit, it's also very simple, right? So let's see how we can do this.